Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And yes, you've read the title correctly. I have found out what retro tracks will be coming into the DLC for the future of Mario Kart World. And yes, I found it out through the game's OST. So, as you may know, Mario Kart World has well over 300 songs in its soundtrack, and a lot of these songs are made up from previous songs from the Mario Kart series. And while it's fantastic to hear your favorite tracks from previous titles in the series, it got me wondering, what would the future DLC tracks be for Mario Kart World? You see, every track's music in Mario Kart needs to loop because of the unpredictable timing of the gameplay. Pretty obvious, right? Well, most of Mario Kart World's remixes of old tracks don't loop. Knowing this, it's kinda weird to think about how the tracks you would listen to while driving around in free roam could ever become retro tracks in the future DLC, right? Well, you might be saying to yourself, well, couldn't Nintendo just make new looping remixes? While I think they could, I don't think they would. Because I think if Nintendo wanted to, they definitely could have made new remixes that didn't loop for tracks like Wario Stadium or Dino Dino Jungle. Additionally, I don't think Nintendo would choose to have a track that shares the same music appear in the same game as another. An example of this would be like N64 Mario Raceway and N64 Wario Stadium, where they share the same music, despite being different tracks. I assume that since this game is super music heavy, and Nintendo obviously put a lot of effort into the music, I don't think they would want to reuse the same music for another track, as that would kinda be low effort, you know? And while they did reuse music in the Booster Course Pass for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you know, that was kinda low effort too. No offense to Nintendo, but, you know. So knowing that, I think that Nintendo is going to choose from the list that they've made for themselves from the tracks they didn't remix so far, and also the tracks that would be sharing music. These tracks would be N64 Bowser's Castle, N64 Banshee Boardwalk, GBA Boo Lake, GBA Sky Garden, GBA Sunset Wilds, GBA Snowland, GBA Lakeside Park, GBA Broken Pier, GCN Waluigi Stadium, GCN Wario Coliseum, GCN Bowser's Castle, DS Bowser's Castle, Wii Koopa Cape, Wii Bowser's Castle, 3DS Cheep Cheep Lagoon, 3DS Woohoo Loop, 3DS Neo Bowser City, 3DS Mako Woohoo, 3DS Bowser's Castle, Wii U Mario Kart Stadium, Wii U Bowser's Castle, Wii U Excite Bike Arena, Wii U Mute City, Wii U Hyrule Circuit, Wii U Animal Crossing, Wii U Big Blue, Tour New York Minute, Tour Paris Promenade, Tour London Loop, Tour Berlin Byways, Tour Sydney Sprint, Tour Amsterdam Drift, Tour Athens Das, Tour Rome Avanti, Tour Madrid Drive, Tour Piranha Plant Cove, and Tour Yoshi's Island. That is a lot of tour tracks in Bowser's Castles. Hot damn! Now, obviously not all 37 of these tracks can be in the future DLC for Mario Kart World, so let's start cutting down on those unhealthy calories. First, we need to take a look at the tour tracks, specifically the ones that take place in real-life places. It honestly just wouldn't make much sense to have the city tracks since they're, kind of real places. I mean, it'd be pretty funny if all it took was 2 minutes to get from Airship Fortress to the literal freaking Coliseum, but ultimately, it just wouldn't make a ton of sense. So that brings our total down by 9, but that's still a lot of retro tracks, so I think we could get rid of some more. Next, I think we should get rid of all those Bowser castles. For one, I don't think Bowser having all of these castles would make much sense from a free roam standpoint. And also, because of the way that Mario Kart World labels its retros, it would mean that either we would have multiple tracks named Bowser's Castle, or the new Bowser's Castle would need its name changed. I personally don't think either of these would happen, But if Nintendo did add another Bowser's Castle and then just renamed it, then I think that it would most likely be the Double Dash Bowser Castle, because that just seems the most likely. It seems fitting from both a free roam perspective and just quality. Yeah. So now knocking down another 5 tracks from our total, it starts to get a little tougher to knock out more and more courses. But I think knocking out the crossover tracks would make a lot of sense. I think this mainly because it seems that Nintendo doesn't want too many references to games outside of the Mario universe. And I think that the crossover tracks would be a little too much, Now, by taking the 7 crossover tracks out of the total, we're getting a lot closer to our definitive list. But that also makes it harder to decide on what tracks make sense to remake. But let's take a look at the tracks that share music with each other, because like I said before, I don't think Nintendo wants 2 tracks to share the same music. But we have 2 pairs that do, contending for the DLC right now. Our first pair is the 2 spooky tracks of Super Circuit, Boo Lake and Broken Pier. I personally think that Broken Pier is more interesting than Boo Lake and just has more personality. So because of that, I think Broken Pier has a better chance of getting in than its younger brother Boo Lake. Our other musical pair consists of the tracks owned by the 2 anti-Mario brothers, Waluigi Stadium and Wario Coliseum. These 2 are pretty hard to pick one over the other, but ultimately, I think Wario Coliseum would have a better shot of getting in, because I think Waluigi Stadium would be too identical to Wario Stadium, like free roam and track-wise. So, by process of elimination, Wario Coliseum takes the cake. Now, there's some tracks that honestly shouldn't have made it this far into the video without being called out, and those are 2 tracks that take place underwater a huge percentage of the time, and those 2 are Piranha Plant Cove from Mario Kart Tour and Cheep Cheep Lagoon from Mario Kart 7. Unlike Wario Shipyard, I don't think Nintendo could give them that treatment to where they would still be a good track, but change enough to where the underwater isn't their whole gimmick. So just for that, I don't think either of them will make it in. Now, there's just 2 more that we need to talk about. 2 tracks that would just give off either not enough vibes to be worthy, or too many similar vibes to a core track in Mario Kart World. These 2 are GBA Snowland and Wii U Mario Kart Stadium. In my opinion, I don't think that Snowland delivers enough to be worthy of coming back again. It's just too simple, and I don't think that even the SNES Koopa Beach 2 treatment could help it out too much. And as for Mario Kart Stadium, it would just be too similar to Peach Stadium, where it just wouldn't fit from a free roam perspective. Now, taking all of that into account, that would leave us with 10 retro tracks: N64 Banshee Boardwalk, GBA Sky Garden, GBA Sunset Wild, GBA Lakeside Park, GBA Broken Pier, GCN Wario Coliseum, GCN Bowser's Castle, Wii Koopa Cape, 3DS Neo Bowser City, and Tour Yoshi's Island. And I personally don't see a problem with any of these, with the slight exception of GCN Bowser's Castle, which I've already kind of said. They would all fit just fine into the Mario Kart free roam and wouldn't take away from any tracks already in the game. And yes, while it's a shame the Wii U doesn't get any retro tracks in Mario Kart World, what can you do? And just a little side note here, the placing of most of these wouldn't be that hard, with the exception of N64 Banshee Boardwalk and GBA Broken Pier. These 2 could go together northeast of Boo Cinema, but one of them would have to change the theming of their track. This is because both Broken Pier and Banshee Boardwalk are both boardwalk tracks, meaning they sort of resemble a Ghost Valley track. and it would be pretty weird to have two boardwalk tracks right next to each other. While only 10 retro tracks in the DLC might seem low, I doubt that the DLC will be only retro tracks. I'm sure Nintendo will make more original tracks to add to the game in a future DLC, which would, in my opinion, be a whole ton of fun. Things like a Beanstalk track to tie into how you get to GBA Sky Garden from the mainland would be so cool, or even maybe a courtyard track to go with the GCN Bowser's Castle. All in all, the Mario Kart World DLC should make some cool and fan favorite returns, even if some of them have to come back from the Booster Course Pass. But that wraps up the video, and hopefully this reaches out to some people, because I honestly don't see a lot of wrong with the theory and would love some feedback. Anyways, check out the OST. I've linked songs I've played through the video in the description, and hopefully this game wins the music award over Expedition 33. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy a wonderful blooper reel. So, as you may know, Mario Kart World has well over 300 songs from its soundtrack, and a lot of these songs are made up from So, as you may know, Mario Kart World has... And while it's fantastic to hear your favorite tracks from previous titles and from the series, like the Mario Circuit...
I almost said Mario Kart Circuit from Mario Kart!
I assume that since this game is super music, and while they did reuse music in the Booster Course Pass, why'd I just go down 3 octaves? What was going on there? So knowing that, I think Nintendo's gonna choose, I can't read. These tracks would be N64 Bowser's Castle, N64 Banshee Boardwalk, GBA Boo Lake, GBA Sky Garden, GBA Sunset Wilds, GBA Snowland, GBA Lakeside Park, GBA Broken Pier, GCN Waluigi Stadium, GCN Wario Coliseum, GCN...
Fuck! I'm doing so good!
These tracks would be N64 Bowser's Castle, N64 Banshee Boardwalk, GBA Boo Lake, GBA Sky Garden, GBA Sunset Wilds, GBA Snowland, GBA Lakeside Park, GBA Broken Pier, GCN Waluigi Stadium, GCN Wario Coliseum, GCN Bowser's Castle, DS Bowser's Castle, Wii Koopa Cave, Wii Bowser's Castle, 3DS Cheap Cheap Lagoon,
Fuck.
It's doing so good. These tracks would be N64 Bowser's Castle, N64 Banshee Boardwalk, GBA Boo Lake, GBA Sky Garden, GBA Sunset Wilds, GBA Snowland, GBA Lakeside Park, GBA Broken Pier, GCN Waluigi Stadium, GCN I probably need water. First, we need to look at the tour tracks.
All the way to the Pacific Ocean.
What am I saying? Oh, okay, never mind. Blooper. I can't read. These two are pretty hard to pick one over the other, but ultimately, I think Nope, not the right pick.